All right, surface area and net of prisms. 6G4, write the entire learning target down, representing three-dimensional figures using nets made up of rectangles and triangles, and use the nets to find the surface area. I can use a net to calculate the surface area of a rectangular prism.
I was supposed to start this one, wasn't I?
Yeah.
And then I totally didn't, and you. Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, my bad. All right, to calculate surface area, it is the sum of the areas of all the faces of the prism. So our rectangular prism has 6 faces, so we're going to find the area of each of them, and then remember the word sum means we're going to add them all together. To calculate the surface area using a net, simply find the area of each of the faces. In this case, we're going to have 6 of them, and then we're going to add them all together. So fill that into the box there on your notes page, and then we're going to try our first example.
Okay. The first one actually has a net. We are going to go through, and on the right side, we're going to color code it, and we're going to write our, apparently we were writing it out first before we're color coding. Front and back is going to go on the left, and then he's going to draw the front and back. Label yours if you don't have colors, or F and B.
I would use BA, so it doesn't get confused with the
Bottom. All right, then he's moving on to the,
Which
what
one
are you
next?
doing, top and bottom?
All right. Just to throw you off, I'll trace it first. So remember, it's always the bottom is the one that we unfolded
See,
from.
I always start with the bottom. That's what I thought you were doing, but you start with front. But okay, top and bottom. And if you notice, all of our rectangles look somewhat the same, so we'll get to that in a minute. And then our left and right side. This is a Kleenex box.
It does kind of look like a Kleenex box that's been opened up.
Okay, so we're going to start with the front and the back. We need to find the area of those 2 red rectangles. We have a base of 35 and a height of 14. So we're going to do 35 times 14 for our area.
We're going to do the same thing for the back because they both have the same measurements. Am I going to have to calculate this one out?
I don't know, 490?
Mrs. King did the math for us, but you can do your calculation, but we would get 490 for each of them. So we need to see the base and the height for each one of them. But it's nice because they're matched up with them.
The bottom is also parallel to the front and the back, so its measurements are the same. The 35 by 14 is the same.
So here's our 14 over here, so it's the same thing here. Or you can also look at the top because we know that one's going to match. It's 35 on the long edge and 14.
So we got another set of 35 by 14, which is again 490.
Isn't it nice of us to give you something where you can use the same calculation?
And then we have a perfect square for the right and the left. We've got a base of 14 and a height of 14. So 14 squared is 196.
So for each one of them, you're listing out your base and your height, multiplying them to equals 196.
So then it's the sum of all 6 areas. So he's going to need to add them up. When he does that, he's going to get 2,352.
Since we're dealing in surface area, areas always units are squared, so this is going to be yards squared. So all we did was use our net to find the length and width, or the base and height for each rectangle.
That's a square, by the way. Here too looks like a circle.
It's
okay.
squared.
Here we go. Moving on. All right. You turn. You want me to keep talking while you draw?
I'll talk this time.
Gotta draw. Start with the bottom, please.
First, we're going to start with our net. So we always start with the bottom, kind of to picture how you would unfold the box. It's a 4 by 7 rectangle. So I'm going to go 4 by 7, and then label it as the bottom. And then I'm going to start to unfold everything. This is where we can kind of do things in pairs. But here I can unfold the left-hand side. This is the one we can see off to the side. Again, it's got that base of 7. Our height is this distance going up, which matches our distance over here, so 8. And it's going to unfold out to the left. Notice it shared that common edge of the 7 with the bottom, so that's my 7 down here. and then it unfolds by 8 going this way. Your sides don't have to be exactly the same, but it should look proportional to the shape. The bottom should be smaller than the side since it has smaller measurements. Apparently I'm talking too much.
Now you need to write.
Remember, the right is going to be a mirror image of the left, so it's going to be your 7 by 8.
Make sure your 7s line up.
So you're going to flip this way. The 7's already there, and this is our 8. That's our right-hand side.
Purple.
I'm going to
Erase.
clean this one up a little bit.
He's
But the
now
color
going to
code
do
really
the
does help.
front and the back, so he's looking at that front rectangle.
Again, this one's going to kind of fold out to the front, but it shares that common edge of 4 with the bottom and then goes up by 8. So it's going to unfold this way.
4 is going to remain parallel to the bottom, and the 8 corners are going to fold up so that no Cheerios fall out.
So those 8 match up, and this is the front. Everything needs both a base and a height and a label. The back is hiding back here, but again, it matches with the front. It's just going to tip in the opposite direction. So it's going to be our 4 by 8, and this is the back. And then don't forget that last one, and that's why we color code it. We should have one more blue side, that's the top. So maybe picture the left-hand side tips out, and then the top flips out with it. It has a common edge of 7, because it matches the bottom down here, and then an edge of 4. Again, it should look just like the bottom edge does. So I'm going to unfold this one in this direction. You could have done it out to the right instead if you would like to, but just make sure that we show that top.
And now we need to write the areas of all 6 sides. So here we go.
I swear I picked the eraser. I just got to give myself a little space here.
Yeah. We're going to start with the top and the bottom. So the top and the bottom are going to be a 7 by 4 or a 28. And then he's going to switch to red and do the left and the right, which are 7 by 8 or 56.
But this is why we label each and every face with both the base and the height, so you never have to think about what their measurements are. They're already written for you.
And then the front and the back are going to give us an 8 by 4, which is 32.
So list out all 6 faces with their names and their measurements, calculate all the areas, and then we're going to go ahead and add them together.
So we got 56, 112, and 64.
So these two add up to be 56, 112, and 64. 56 and 64 gives me 120, right?
232.
Plus 112 gives me 232. We're dealing with meters, and it's area, so it's meters squared.
Are we going to let them do this one, or are we doing this one too?
I don't know. So for some reason, I'm sliding this over for no good reason. Next one. If you feel comfortable with this one, I would try going ahead, drawing out your net, then hit play, see if your net matches up with ours. Then go ahead and find your surface area for each, or find the area of each of the faces, then come back and see how you did. If you're still not quite sure, follow along as we go through this one. We're going to go a little bit quicker this time.
So our bottom is going to give us a 7 by 9, the 9 being on the bottom and the 7 being on the right-hand side. So he's giving me a 9-inch by 7-inch bottom. And then he's going to go ahead and switch to the right-hand side where our measurements are 7 by 4. The 7 needs to match up with the 7 that's already on the bottom. So that 4 is going to go on the top and the bottom. And then he's going to label it right. He's going to do the same thing for the left-hand side.
Remember, it's always a mirror image of your right-hand side, so we know the measurements.
He's putting his dimensions of 4 by 7 down, and he's switching to the front and the back. He's going to erase it, though, for me. He's going to need to take that back measurement of 4 for the height.
So that 4 back here matches up with this one here.
And then our base for our front is 9. So we have a 9 by 4. The 9 is going to need to match up with the bottom and the 4 with the corners. And then he's going to go ahead and label that as front, and he's going to need a mirror image in the back. Then the 9 and the 4.
Notice how the 9s run all the way through the problem, the 7s go all the way through.
He adds the top to the left-hand side, so he has room to write. So the top is the
planning.
same measurements as the bottom, which is a 9 by 7. So
And
we
I'm going to
start
list out all my sides. I'm
starting
going to
with
do
the top and the bottom.
top, bottom, left, right, front, and back.
So our top is going to be a 9 by 7, which is 63 for both of them.
The nice part of rectangular prisms is once you know one side, you always know its matching side.
Left-hand
right.
side is going to be a 4 by 7, which is 28. And the front and the back are going to be a 9 by 4, which is a 36. So we have two 36s, which is 72. And we have 56 up there. And then
126. So we have 126, 56, and 72. 14, 15,
254
inches
squared.
Hope that made sense for you. We'll practice some more tomorrow.
That's a good one.